Teresa Civito, Digital Director of the Connecticut Republican Party. I'm here with State Representative Joe Polletta at the Capitol today. The Labor Committee is presenting legislation that would increase the minimum wage to $15. How's it going?
Well, look, we're sitting through, I think this is hour number 8 of testimony that we've heard from both sides of the aisle. A lot of people here for an increase in minimum wage, but there's a lot of small business owners that are against the increase in minimum wage. You know, we're certainly willing to listen to this testimony and debate because it is very passionate. But the small business community across Connecticut, the real job creators here are telling us that they're having a big problem with increasing this minimum wage $1.25 a year for the next 4 years, as the bill calls, the governor's bill. And the House bill actually calls for a quicker $1.50 a year over 3 years. So drastic increase for Connecticut businesses that are already strapped in an otherwise lagging economy behind the U.S. economy. So it's a very passionate debate, and we're listening closely. But we do know from listening to job creators and business owners across the state that it is going to negatively affect them.
So now I know that a couple of years ago, State Representative Josh Elliott testified in support of similar legislation, but then we found out that he wasn't paying his employees $15 an hour.
I speak today as a small business owner and not as a representative. Our minimum wage has not kept up with inflation.
So, of course, you know that as a small business owner, he would probably certainly pay his employees a $15 an hour living wage, right? Well, if you picked $15 an hour for a deli team member at Elliott's Common Bond Market, you'd be wrong.
Representative Elliott was here today. It was a great dialogue back and forth, but he did admit after speaking back and forth that this increase would increase costs for him as a business owner.
I don't believe it.
You have to check the testimony.
Well, you know what, and that's what we'll do right now. Here's the clip.
I would like to see is a change in our system, is to see the base wage change for everybody across the board. It's difficult as a small business owner. We will get hit first by the minimum wage increase.
Just, you alluded to during your testimony a little bit of what I had spoken to earlier, saying that the minimum wage increase would hit the small business owners first, right? I mean, you said that. So just getting your perspective from it, I know you're in favor of raising it.
Sure.
Do you believe that if we raise this minimum wage, at any point along the line, are you going to have to raise your prices?
How will I adapt this? A few ways that I see. One is some of the costs will be passed on to the consumer, which will then increase some consumer goods. Some of the costs will be passed on to the consumer, which will then increase some consumer goods.
I would understand if the $15 an hour bill that we're talking about, if this bill were to pass, and tolls were to pass, and other measures, for instance, an increase in someone who makes over X amount of dollars pays more money were to pass. Aren't we in essence robbing Paul to pay Peter? So if we increase the minimum wage and we tell your worker that is working the front register, great, you're worth $15 an hour. We need you here. We want you to work here. We're not going to go automated. Great. But then that worker makes an extra $3 an hour, but it's exhausted in other places in the state. For instance, maybe they're traveling to get to your job and they're paying $2 and then $2 to go home. And they do that 3 or 4 times a week. And you add that up on the increase of the salary, and what does it come out to at the end of the year? Not a lot of money. So I guess my question is, are we robbing Paul to pay Peter? Do we raise this bill and then vote this bill in, and then maybe vote another bill in that increases the cost of an average person that's working for you, and then they're left with just the same amount of money in their pocket?
On the Republican side of things, we're saying, hey, look, let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's listen to what the job creators are saying. And they are saying precisely what he said, and that is that it is going to be an increase for the business owners. So Stop and Shop has a robot going around. Everyone's seen the robot. So it's only a matter of time before the McDonald's of the world start saying, hey, look, instead of having 10 employees behind the counter, we're going to have 1 expediter and 9 kiosks where you go in and you punch what you want. Recent article just came out, MGM Casino. Bridgeport delegation's been pushing MGM Casino big time. And they're saying they're going to go to automated bartenders. So, The other aspect of this is we are talking about giving Connecticut residents a raise by giving them $15 an hour, but that raise is going to be virtually wiped out when they pay the tolls on Connecticut roadways and when they start paying the prescription tax and every other tax that's being proposed. And also, what about the seasonal part-time employees like Quasi
Good point.
Park?
Great point.
He's in there testifying right now, and he's saying, look, he employs 400 seasonal part-time employees. These are high school, college kids. They want to get off the couch and get to work, become productive members of society.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, right? And we all want that opportunity over the summer. And an owner of a large amusement park, similar to Lake Compounds, is saying, look, I'm not going to be able to afford to employ that many people if this bill passes. You know, again, it's always important to listen. We need to listen, but we are certainly keeping into consideration and taking into consideration the small business community across the state of Connecticut that's saying, please, give us a break. We're lagging behind the national economy. We need help. Someone be our voice. So we're trying to bring that perspective to the table, and we'll see where it goes when the final bill comes out.